Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, it's time!
What is going on? Welcome back to another MMA episode for UFC 270, episode 14, where we get our Tapology picks in. I am here with one half of the Mars of Pain, Alex Mars. His brother couldn't make it, which is cool because he never wins anyways. So he might as well sit this one out. And the only man, Chuck Norris Spears, Coach Rage from Engage Your Rage, IR Fighting Systems in Hollywood. What's going on, gentlemen?
Good. I'm excited for it, man. Excited for this fight.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
First pay-per-view, UFC pay-per-view of the year. Obviously, we had a lesser-known fight night last Saturday that really flew under the radar.
Everyone was it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was like a 7-hour. I mean, everything went to a decision, which to me, I'm cool with that. I love fights. This also being not only the first pay-per-view of 2022, but it is also the first main event between two French nationals, between Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane, obviously of African origins, living in France, meeting and training together, making their way stateside to the United States. Not the first all-European main event, but definitely a benchmark for French fighting, for sure, which I think, I mean, Coach, you may know, is MMA still illegal in France?
I believe it's legal now, but it's very young.
Right, yeah.
It's only been legal for a few years, so
yeah, it's like the New York thing. It just took a long time. I don't know if it's corruption or safety or what, but it's about downtown. Because
it's usually corruption.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's what was that, like the station's 10th union or whatever the fuck they were called, the kitchen staff, basically the Vegas kitchen staff, keeping them out of New York somehow.
Yeah, that's the sanitized version. That's the clean version of it, but that's not. There's a little more going on there.
It's a good spirit. If the union situation with the MMA was a Scorsese movie, you would be like, no, that's not real. It's too much.
Yeah,
that's actually a good way of describing it, and because of the players that are involved or that were involved, both on the celebrity side and the political side, it's insanity. I mean, John McCain, but then the people that John McCain worked for or, was bought and paid.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then you have Hollywood and the big agencies. It's craziness. But anyway.
I mean, my favorite part.
And then the five families.
Who did John McCain marry? The heiress to Budweiser, the biggest sponsor of boxing.
What?
Right.
What are you insinuating?
I have no idea. There is no correlation between sponsoring boxing and refusing to sponsor MMA and getting it blacklisted.
No, none whatsoever.
All right.
None whatsoever.
Alex Jones, don't come for our ass. All right.
Yeah, right.
So we have a 5-card main event tonight.
But the frogs are gay. I'm sorry.
That ended up actually being a lot more realistic than it should have been. That's a frog hole right there. All right, we could do a whole episode on just the black helicopters have been spotted outside of Dallas. So let's get to the main card right here. If not for the title fights, I honestly think this entire card could have been a really successful fight night. And that doesn't mean any disrespect to the quality of the fighters. That just means that they have a lot of new talent they want to push, and they want to do that on a pay-per-view event. The first fight of the night is Rodolfo Vieira versus Wellington Turman. Rodolfo, looking at his stats, finishes every fight. Most of them are by submission, except for one where he actually lost by submission. I'm going to start my clock, which I don't need a clock. There's only 3 of us. Don't need the clock. I'm gonna go first because I'm already talking. So I am gonna pick Rodolfo. I gotta make sure that's his name. Yeah. I have a bunch of windows pulled up right here. Rodolfo Vieira by submission, round 1, based on his record. He's 8-1, 1 knockout, 7 submissions versus Wellington Turman, who is 17-5. Hasn't lost by submission, but he has lost 3 of his last 5. So odds are in the favor of the guy who finishes everybody. And I would love to see a quick sub. I love quick subs. It's just all skill when it takes like 30 seconds to put a guy out like that. Close these windows so I can just keep track of who the hell I'm talking about. Next fight. I pulled a tab for everybody. Next fight is Cody Stamann versus Saeed Nurmagomedov, which I believe is actually the cousin of Khabib. I think that's accurate? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cousin.
Cool. So Cody is right now, I mean, he is on his white hiring slips are slightly turning pink. He has lost his last 2 top level fighters, Jimmy Rivera, Merab Dravashvili. Saeed is just, I mean, obviously if you're coming out of that camp, a beast. He's lost only 2 out of 14. Won his last fight by TKO or actual KO in the first round. I'm going to pick Saeed by decision. I don't know if that's going to give Cody his walking papers. It's not going to look good starting the year off on a loss, especially when you lost your last 2 before that. But I'm going to give Saeed the decision on that one. Next fight is Michel Pereira. God, the backflip king, Michel Pereira versus Andre Fiallo. Andre actually doesn't have a Wikipedia, and what that means is that he's just not popular yet. But if you go and find his fight record on either SureDog or Tapology, this guy has a very impressive record. I believe this is his first UFC fight. He's been fighting in UAE for the past year. He had 4 fights last year, actually. Won them all by strikes. This may be an underdog story, but I honestly think that Andre can get it done. I'm giving him a 2nd round TKO. I think Michel's going to be very flashy, very who he is as a fighter. And I think obviously Andre can plan for that. He's going to be a little bit more tactical, maybe look to counter the weird Street Fighter maneuvers, maybe 3 spinning back kicks, lands him with a right hook, something like that, can catch him in the midair. That would be pretty wild. I would love to see that. Not that I don't like Michel Pereira, but I like I like seeing a game plan that stylistically counters someone flashy like that. Kind of sad Nico Price couldn't do that, but is where it is. And the first title fight of the night is not a rubber match, but it is the 3rd fight for 3rd rematch, because the first fight went to a draw. We obviously saw what happened between Brandon Moreno and Davidson Figueiredo in their last fight. There wasn't a second of that fight that I thought Davidson won. We talked about that when we called this fight, when we previewed and reviewed it. Brandon Moreno is flying high on confidence right now based on how spectacular he was in that title fight. It always takes a guy who loses the ability to change something just to win that fight, where the guy who won it has a hard time seeing what he has to change because he had already won. So what does he have to do to keep winning? I would love to see what Davidson's new game plan is. Is he or was he training with Henry Cejudo for any of this? Was that something I had seen?
Yeah.
I feel like that it was either like an Instagram clip or actually a thing that's happening. I don't know if that's going to help him at all. He's a savage. The guy there's no way people saw him losing the way he did in that last fight. That being said, I think Brandon's confidence is going to give him the decision in this one, and he retains. But that's not if we don't see the same Davidson that went out and just murdered everybody like Joseph Benavidez in front of his wife. The guy that just straight kills people in front of family members, which is a violent way to go out. But I think Moreno right now he's going to know that he has to be a little more careful because Davidson is going to be expecting a firefight. And now we are on to the main event, which should have happened last summer between Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane. I think Francis was lined up for that fight, had a foot injury, I think was the reason that he gave. He couldn't fight that, and they put Derek Lewis in there, giving Cyril the win and the interim title. The only thing I could decide who would win was the amount of time spent in the cage. it definitely takes Cyril a little bit longer to win fights. I mean, usually outside of round 1, I believe. And we all know that Ngannou has a nuclear Cameroon bomb in every hand. People they look at that Alistair Overeem knockout. That was with a very off-center left hand, which if that's not your dominant hand, the way that thing came was it was weird. It was just weird. Obviously not a lucky punch, but to throw with that much power in both hands, I think he's going to give Cyril Gane his first, I think, professional loss ever. I'm looking at his Muay Thai record. He's also undefeated there. He's undefeated in MMA. I think Cyril's going to get it done in 1. I mean, sorry, Francis. I think Francis can get it done in 1. It's going to take him a lot less time to get it done. Very few Cyril Gane fights I'm looking are finished even before round 3. His first 4 fights were first round, second round, but most of everything in the UFC have been in the 3rd round or later. So I think it's going to take a one and done from Francis, and he unifies and retains his heavyweight title. And that's it. Those are my picks. I'm excited for every one of those. I don't think I'm that out of my lane on them. And I would love to hear what Alex has to say.
Yeah, the first one, obviously Vieira is a legend in the jiu-jitsu world, world champion in jiu-jitsu.
He's like 109 in like grappling.
Yeah.
Which is wild stat. I mean,
which is crazy. Yeah. And I see the way you see it, Chris. I think he submits him. And I'll probably go first round. Because, one thing is like I said, he's 2-3 in his last 5 fights, and coming off a win over, Sam Alvey, which was like a split decision. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. I think I see Vieira going submitting in the first round. So I think he wins by submission. Takes him down and submits him, and that's it.
What do you think the tactic is? There's no bonus points for this, but what submission do you think he catches him with?
I'm gonna go with arm triangle.
Oh, okay. So you think he's going to take him down top position and then just like move from guard over to mount or something? Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, all of his finishes are by choke, either rear nakeds, guillotines, or arm triangles. So that's not crazy. Cool. Love that. Go for the next one.
Yeah, Stamen is this one's gonna be pretty good too. I mean, like you said, if he does lose, he might get released, and I feel like that might, make him fight, maybe, his best performance, maybe. I don't know. They're gonna hit up, man. Those guys that come from the camp are just so good and talented. Everyone that comes off from there. But yeah, I see Nurmagomedov just, probably gonna do takedown clinic and just, I think win by decision.
Just smash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. Awesome. And then Michel Pereira versus Andre Fiallo, which I thought was Andre Filio for a second there. I was like, I thought he got released, let alone he's on the main card, but and also moved up 4 weight classes.
Yeah.
It's Andre Fiallo, so close enough.
Yeah, I saw Fiallo fight, and this was, I want to say, back in PFL, and he fought Chris Curtis. And that was a really good fight, but I think Chris ended up winning by knockout. But, I didn't know I thought that was like his last fight, but apparently, like in his record, he, now he's on a winning streak, which is good. I think he knocked out James Vick, who was was a UFC veteran. So he's coming out with some, really decent wins. But I don't know. Pereira's just, I get it. He's fancy, but man, he's so good too, though. He's just such a good striker. And really good in the ground too, very well-rounded. But yeah, I see Pereira catching him probably in the second round. So I'll pick Pereira second round KO.
Cool. And then on to the first title fight of the night.
Yeah, it's like one of those things like Figueroa did, training with Cejudo, and Cejudo did used to train with Moreno. So you don't know what he's, what secrets or what he's telling Figueroa. But, like I said, it really doesn't, it can work one way, it can work another way, but, we just don't know. Like I said, Moreno's confidence is really high, and I think it's kind of like it reminds me of like Nami Yunus fighting Whaley, like it was, Nami Yunus wins, and then, her confidence, she knew she could beat her. Obviously she did the first time, and then she just, beat her again the second time. I think it's going to happen with Moreno. I think Moreno, I think he has his number, and Moreno's I see a decision on this one. But yeah, Moreno retains his title.
Cool. And then main event of the night, Francis. Is he the Predator also? Yeah, right. Yeah. Versus I don't know what Sorokin's nickname is actually. If he has,
does he even have it? I don't think
know.
he has one.
He does, but it's French.
Oh, so it doesn't.
And it means like good boy.
Von Gammon. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good guy.
Yeah. Man, it's one of those things where like Nagano obviously has a one punch knockout, which he could end it any second in the round. But I don't know. Nagano does tend, and there's been times, even though like the wins that he has, there's been times where he kind of does get kind of wild and gets reckless and throws bombs and all over the place. And I just feel like Gon is a little bit more a smart striker than Nagano. I think he's very precise with what he with his kicks, are very technical than Nagano. I think, man, I'm gonna go Gon on this one. I think he knocks him out, and I think he knocks him on the second round.
Ooh.
In this one.
Now, when you talk about Ngannou's reckless furies, I mean, pick a time where you watched him fury and said, "Oh, he shouldn't have done that. That didn't pay off."
Rosenstruck
knocked him out in like 12 seconds.
Yeah, he knocked him out, but Rosenstruck made an error though. I mean,
his error was getting punched in the face.
Yeah, but it was
his error was not blocking.
Going based on the form and everything is like, if he fought against a really smart striker, instead of backing up, moving sideways. I mean,
I have yet.
I don't see Gon making that. I don't see Gon making that error like Rosenstruck would.
Yeah,
and
perhaps.
I think Rosenstruck wants to knock him out too.
I just don't see a lot of. I mean, obviously, you need the power behind that. I guess you would say reckless technique, but I haven't seen a fight where Ngannou.
Well, when he fought Miocic, I mean,
a fight where he won by knockout, where that particular fury put him in jeopardy. I think in the second Miocic fight, he was patient, and it was Miocic who made that mistake where he thought he was gonna, fury, and that's when he got caught. So,
but then he's a bigger guy. Gon is a way bigger guy, bigger than all those guys, bigger than Rosenstruck, bigger than Miocic.
6'4", 247. That's pretty much the same size as all three of the people we're talking about.
Rosenstruck's not that big. He's not. Is he?
Rosenstruck's pretty big. He's
Stipe 6'4", 254. Francis Ngannou has got to be at least 6'4". The guy's built like a rock. 6'4", 263. So Francis is bigger in weight than Cyril, and then Jairzinho Royce I spelled that right. That is weird.
That is weird.
He's 6'2", 257. So they're not. It's not like they're fighting like
But I'm going based off size. He's a big guy.
Cool. So you're still going to stick with the tactical Gon game plan. You said TKO round 3 or KO?
TKO second round.
Second round. That would be wild. I don't hate that idea. I just that'll get me jumping out of my seat for sure. Cool. Now we're on to the man who makes or breaks whether or not we know what the heck we're talking about, and that is Coach Ray. Lay it on us. Start with that first fight of the night. And
okay, actually, before we do that, I want to shout out a couple of my friends.
Yeah,
Kay Hansen is opening. She's the first fight of the night. Also, let me say that this is happening in Anaheim. So,
like block away from town.
Yeah.
SoCal. Shout out to 714 area code. Me and her grew up like down the street from each other and never met.
There you go. Well, I've met Kay a few times. Never in Fullerton though. Usually at events. Anyway, great girl. I'm surprised that she's the first prelim. But anyway, I just want to say good luck to Kay, and I also want to say shout out my boy Victor Henry, who's making his UFC debut. He was supposed to debut in Vegas, but they had some COVID nonsense. He popped a false positive, and so they just pushed him back to this. it's awesome that we're here in Anaheim. Well, it's kind of a mixed. It's kind of awesome, except California fucking sucks. We really need to publicly execute Gavin Newsom. But Victor Henry, want to wish him luck. He's one of Josh Barnett's proteges, and he actually trains with my boxing coach, Jamal Abdullah. So that's going to be a great fight. Also, this guy, Tapuria, man, he's a featherweight. He's a murderer, and he is exciting to watch. So on to the main card. First fight.
He's the guy that knocked Ryan Hall out dead.
Killed Ryan Hall.
Yeah. Dude, that finishing rate is crazy. He went submitting everybody to knocking everybody out. That's what happens when the jiu-jitsu guy finds a good striking coach.
Yeah. I mean,
love with KOs.
I think he's a Sambo guy, but
okay, yes.
We'll let this slide.
Well, there's a lot of submissions on his record. And what was the phrase that jiu-jitsu is like the bastard cousin of Sambo? I think Khabib actually said that. I forget. That's actually a quote.
I thought Khabib said if shit. Whatever.
It's number one bullshit.
Yes, there you go. Okay, so Adolfo Vieira and Wellington Turman.
Yes, sir.
I'm actually going with Wellington, and I am thinking an early KO, maybe second round knockout. Adolfo's record is outside the UFC. In the UFC, he's actually not. He's done pretty poorly. His UFC debut, he got submitted by a guy who is barely a blue belt because he gassed out, got beat up, and then got choked out. And then his last fight, it was a decision win, but that was bullshit. He lost that fight. So
I'm going to correct. His last fight was a third round submission.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's 3-1 in the UFC.
Okay. So I didn't see his last fight. So the fight before that was bullshit. That was a split decision.
He only has finishing wins and one loss.
Yeah. I think you're talking about Wilmington, I think.
Are you talking about Wellington? Or
No, I'm talking about
Rodolfo, right? He's like the guy that looks like a Brazilian G.I. Joe. Yeah. He only has finishing wins and then that one loss. Everything else.
So what's his record in the UFC?
He's
1-2?
3-1.
3-1.
Sorry, 3-1.
3-1?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He has Oscar Pachoita by submission, Saparabek Safarov by submission, the loss to Anthony Hernandez, which you just discussed, and then submission win over.
Oh, okay. So he has two fights earlier that I never saw and have I thought Fluffy was his UFC debut.
I love Fluffy, man. Pomona represent.
Okay. And then the last fight he won? He actually finished it.
Yeah, he finished it. He's never been to decision.
Huh.
In none of his fights. Yeah.
Still, he's getting knocked out.
Okay.
Fuck that guy.
Hey, I don't argue with Coach. That's why he's here.
The next fight, man.
Stayman.
Yeah. Cody Stayman and Saeed Nurmagomedov. I really like Cody. And the quote from Leonidas on his tattooed on his Moana Labe. That's awesome. So I still got to go with Saeed. I think Cody's being set up at being given his walking papers here. And the height and the reach, I think Cody's being set up to lose.
Yeah.
So Saeed, I'm gonna man. I think it goes to decision, and I think he wins by decision. Michelle Piera Lima really annoys the piss out of me. Like He bothers me. Listen, I am all for showmanship. I am for spinny video game shit. That's awesome. Don't fuck around so much though. Like work it into your style, but actually have a fucking style. Don't just go out there, showboat, goof around, and then get upset when you lose the decision. So just out of spite, I'm gonna pick Andre Filo. And I'm gonna wish him, man, let's say, it's gonna go to decision. So he'll win by decision. Moreno and Figgy. Maybe I can't get past the recency bias. I can't see Figgy winning this. And in my book, Training with Henry Cejudo is not, that's not a positive. It didn't do Weili jack shit. Didn't help her at all. And when you have a narcissist like Cejudo, they're not good coaches and they're not good teammates. So, I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno, also because one of my fighters' last name is Moreno. So good is good.
Yes, I love it.
Luis.
That's why I always root for Kennedy Njokuani. The 205er with the African gentleman with the first name's Kennedy. That's my
There you go. Who do you know, Kennedy? Who do you know?
UFC fighter. I forget how to say his last name. It's like Njokuani. Let me see here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
No, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I was joking about your last name.
Oh, my last name.
That's, okay. Moreno by Darce, round 3.
Ooh, I love that. That's very specific. I love that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a choke. It's going to be a choke.
Just
it's
like
going to be. It's going to be a couple pop, drop them, wrap them up, or he's going to land a couple. Figure he's going to take a bad shot. Top position, snap down. Still, it's going to be a Darce. He's gonna be on top, and get the Darce choke. Okay, next and last, we have Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane. And I'm going to go with Gane. And I'm going to go with Gane by submission. I'm going to go with Gane by rear naked choke, round 4.
Whoa.
That is a move you don't see much amongst heavyweights. The last time I saw that was Barnett over Arlovsky in Russia. And
wow.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only rear naked choke I can think of in the heavyweight division for a while.
Yep.
I mean,
so
Frank Mir was a limb
what
breaker.
what I think is going to happen is Ngannou is going to gas out. Ngannou's ego, I believe, is his biggest problem, and he is surrounded by what I believe to be some yes men. Dewey Cooper is a phenomenal fighter, or was a phenomenal fighter, and is a great coach. Yeah. But Francis's ego, I've heard about it from several different people in several different directions. And I see it getting in the way. I see it being a problem. And I see him not doing what needs to be done to fill in the holes. Now, his last fight against Stipe, we saw major improvement. But when you have that kind of ego problem, and then you look at his past, and you look at what happened when he fought Derek Lewis, he's got some serious mental issues that I don't think he has the ability to correct, and his ego won't get out of the way for him to fix his shit. So that's a long way of saying I don't think he's going to land that one big shot, and if he doesn't land that one big shot, he loses, and he is going to gas himself out. And Gane is just a far superior technician. Now, the power differential, we don't actually know what that is. But Gane doesn't seem to hit tremendously hard, but he has knockout power. He has done that. But his skill, his technique, his footwork is just better, and his MMA game, his all around well-roundedness is far superior to Francis. Although Francis did learn proper single leg defense and even a proper single leg technique. Again, the contrast of Stipe 1 and Stipe 2. But I think Gane's going to tire him out, and Francis is going to make a mistake. The rear naked choke is going to happen because of the way that Francis turns his back to get up, exposing him.
Yeah.
It's going to be a technical error from exhaustion, and it's going to be capitalized on by Gane.
That
Wow.
I mean, that's styles make fights, and that is a tactician in Cyril versus. I mean, I don't want to say Francis.
See, the thing is, like, Ngannou should be totally in my wheelhouse. Like, I'm all about devastation. I'm all about aggression. I'm all about that one punch power. But he's just shown too many character flaws, too many mental problems, issues.
Cool.
So
that makes a lot of sense right there. So Cyril will be unifying and becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion, setting up who knows his next in line for that one. I know Stipe says he wants to get back, but we haven't seen much of him doing anything.
That won't happen. Dana's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, it has to be a rematch with Derek. That's the only thing that makes sense, even though that loss was recent. I mean,
well, yeah. How does Bones fit into this picture?
I think Bones,
Johnny.
I think Bones will be given any fight he says he's ready for. So I think he can jump a line anytime. I think it's obviously still up to both him and Dana White. Whatever financial, what did John want for the Ngannou fight? Like $8 million. I mean, does Tom Brady get paid more than that? Like for one game? Like,
yeah.
So I don't see the big issue, but I'm not in the office with those two.
So how does Jones match up against these other two? Right. So if Francis wins, right, and then Jones gets the title shot, or if Gane wins and Jones takes the title shot. Again, this is just pure speculation, but how do those two fights look?
Jones is smart. I don't know how his wrestling is going to translate at that weight class because I've never seen him at that weight class. His wrestling and cardio had never been in question at 205, and he does walk around at like 238. That's like not a hidden secret. I would love to see him with a warm-up fight like he did with the Open St. Preux fight. He didn't look great in that fight, but it was a warm-up fight, and he went on to look great after that. Again, I think he's going to only come back for a title fight, and I have no idea what he's going to look like. Probably having to cut to 265, which will be a wild thing.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I even if he does fight both of them, I think I see Jones with both of them, honestly.
That's interesting because I don't see John being competitive at heavyweight. And DC said very much the same thing. I think it's first of all, his last few fights at light heavyweight, he's constantly been declining. And Gane is they're both Francis and Gane are just too big for John. John's used to being the bully with the reach and the strength advantage, and he's not going to have any of that. Has anybody taken Gane down?
I don't remember that fight he won by heel hook. I don't remember how that went.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I can't remember anybody being able to take Gane down. And if Stipe can't take Francis down, Jones is not taking Francis down. Right. I do see Francis landing. I see Francis murdering John, and I see Gon picking him apart. So,
Awesome.
but that's just me.
Yeah, I got you. So
And I also really don't like John Jones. I don't know if I've made that clear in the past at all. But
I real quick, I don't have the upgraded Zoom account, so I've got about 45 seconds before they make me pay for it. So
there
what
we go.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to run out Ivan's picks. He's got Vieira 3rd round submission, Nurmagomedov 2nd round KO, Pereira 2nd round KO, Moreno retains, Ngannou wins decision. I'm going to close it out right now. Sorry to cut it short abruptly, but Zoom likes to hit you with a minute left. This has been fun, guys. I really appreciate it. I love hearing coaches' absolute accurate assessment of these picks.